learning lots to be knowing about people. Gotta reach 'em, see it right down.
Former President Trump's safety once again called into question after the arrest of an armed man outside of his weekend rally in California. This after 2 confirmed assassination attempts since July 13th. I spoke with President Trump on Sunday Morning Futures.
I don't understand why 2 assassination attempts are not talked about every day anymore.
Well, that's because it's because there's, I don't want to say conspiracy theorist and all that, but you could ask that question. I mean, I'll give you an example. They've got one guy with 6 guns or six phones. They haven't broken into those phones.
Why not?
Because maybe they don't want to know what's in those phones. Then you have the first guy with 3 apps, and the 3 apps 2 of them are foreign from what I understand. Why haven't they broken into those apps and found out where are they?
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about these boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 770 cities around the world. We just finished 15 years of broadcast excellence. Now in our 16th year, the Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. I usually write my monologue as the last thing I do to show prep. I want to talk about things that I'm very passionate about and connected to what affects everyone one way or another. Flying back last night from a McDonald's convention held in Dallas on a full plane, a baby girl was having a fit. Her father did everything he could in his power to, in a lovingly way, stop her screaming and contortions. I was within 4 feet of her and Dad, and something came over me. I started to hide my face in my hat, just like I do on the show, and do this. And all sorts of other expressions. And she quieted down for a while. Several times I did this. But she still wasn't done with the fidgeting and fidgety behavior. But much more tepid than she was before. Lisa and I were in the last row of seats, last rows of seats, as people in the back still had a flood of humanity to get off the plane. I noticed a little girl looking at me, and she had a little smile on her face. I gave her as big a smile as I could muster. And from her loving daddy's arms, we waved at each other, me and the baby. And she smiled at me. Then her mother stood up, and she was beautifully pregnant with this little girl's future sister or brother to be. And just as then, I teared up at the wonder of her life. God has guided me in this way, and with all my flaws as a person, it has always stuck with me that honoring life is what God wants. Please try this the next time you are put in a position like this. And remember to thank your mom who had you when she had other deadly options, legal and available.
Nenê do pai. Mas, meu Deus do céu, gente. Ela tá feliz, meu Deus do céu. Bebê. Mas, gente do céu. Nenê do pai. Mas, meu Deus do céu, gente.
That's a baby in the womb, 32 weeks in the womb, and she's already responding to Dad. She's responding to his voice. She is smiling in the womb. So it doesn't seem to me that there's a real connect between the possible things that can go wrong with mom versus the kind of cold tearing out a baby who is obviously cognizant and obviously in a structure that can only do her good or harm. The baby has no choice. So I know there's two sides to every story, but let's look at the logical side. If you believe in God, you have to believe in life because that's what he's about, is giving us life in his image. Okay. My name is Dave Weinbaum. I'm going to be your talk show host today, and I'm here with my lovely bride, a very, very busy Lisa Ann Weinbaum, the law. She's too busy to. She's running businesses and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Yeah, I'm trying to.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's a businesswoman, and now she's dressed like one now too.
Oh, I got a new blazer.
Well, that is a very businessy like blazer.
Well,
That means
it's a good day to have a blazer. It's
serious.
freezing cold.
Well, look at me. I dressed. I put clothes on.
And it was freezing cold in
Now, JP
Dallas too. Dallas was super cold.
JP hasn't got the memo because he's in a t-shirt. What the hell's that?
I'm a polar bear. What can I say?
You're a polar bear.
Yeah.
What
It was in the 60s in Dallas.
Yeah.
And 50s.
Our room
Incredible.
was it was like Ice Mountain in our room. Yeah, the heat we turned the heat up to 80. It got colder. I mean, it must have been down to 60 and below that.
And it was probably in the low 60s.
And when you had the air on, at least it forced air in. That was cold air. So we had to go get a little heater in this great big room we had, this great big hotel room in Dallas. And we had to get a little heater so we could huddle by it at night.
No, the heater was for you working in the big room.
Well, okay.
We also got extra blankets too, though. That's what we used in the bedroom.
I'm walking around the room like remember Abraham Lincoln walking around with a blanket around his neck? That's what I was doing. I had a blanket around my neck. Okay, it was really weird. Anyways, we've got a wonderful show, and by the way, JP Maxwell is the producer of the show, and we have Rick Henderson in Salem, who does all the clips and the bits. I especially like that one with the father. I mean, that is such a emotionally tearing. We got to play that later in the show too.
If that doesn't put a smile on your face, nothing will.
Well, it puts tears in your eyes. That how beautiful life is. You know, people are saying, "Well, it's just a bunch of bones and muscles, and there's nothing in there other than that." These are people. These are little people. And if that thing doesn't show you, because it's in kind of a 3-dimensional thing, right?
Yeah, it's a 3D ultrasound, which is really cool. We did this with our son, who's now 7.
Yeah.
You can do this very early in the pregnancy and see. We have images of him, the back of his head. That's the first thing we ever saw.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We still have it as up on our
And when he
fridge.
misbehaves now, he gets the back of your hand.
If it calls for it, yes.
There you go. Well, that's part of the deal. I mean, that's part of the deal is you're supposed to not let these kids do whatever the hell they want to do. The love is in discipline as well. Now, I can't fault this guy for what he did. He did a great job. He really tried hard, and it was very difficult for him to bring her in, but he was very patient with her, and really a good man. We did not speak a word to each other. He gave me looks that were nice, very nice, but they may not have even sprechen the Deutsch or known the language, but it was really nice. All right, today we've got coming up JJ Bradshaw, and he's there. I see him. Rabbi Moshe Rothschild calling all the way from Israel with some major news about one of the big Hamas, maybe the biggest Hamas leader, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and what's coming up in the future. We've got Richard Lockwood at 9:30 because this guy is now. I don't know. It's a little weird that I would be so interested in this, but we're talking about him being connected to time travel. And you don't have a book written about, what Bolger and Barron living in a Manhattan hotel in downtown New York back in 1895 with a guy that helped him on the book was a guy named John Trump, who was the uncle of Donald Trump without some time travel involved. All right. We've got Don Mayhew, one of the great representatives of this state of Missouri, and finally we've got Jeff Zink, who has all sorts of news about January 1st and also the election in the swing state of Arizona. He is running for Congress in Maricopa County, and he knows about all the cheating that went on. All right. So right now, let me introduce you to a man who goes by this: JJ's Justice Report. Okay. Or as I did it in the first place, like that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a man who's 256 years old. He was there for the Revolutionary War way back in the 1700s, 1777, 1776. And he used to hang out with Ben Franklin and George Washington, Thomas Jefferson in Ye Old Tavern, picking up on women from that time. Please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Good morning.
Mr. Bradshaw, sir, how are you?
Can you hear my audio?
I can hear your audio. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thank God.
Just wanted to make sure we didn't have continuing technical difficulties.
That's a good start right there.
Say, in your monologue, you were talking about the unborn. We might as well start out with Amendment number 3 for the Missouri Constitution. I sincerely hope that your listeners and viewers have read the text of that little abomination and vote against it. Numbers 2 and 3 are the death.
Wait a minute. Why? What's the abomination in there?
Well, if you look at Amendment 3, this thing was actually not written in Missouri. This was out-of-state money and out-of-state folks that came up with this, and Missouri is an anti-abortion state, it's a pro-life state, and this would wipe all that out. The text of this looks innocuous enough until you read it and think about it for a few minutes, and it's very much pro-parent, Planned Parenthood, very much pro-abortion. This is something that needs to be voted down, and it needs to be voted down with a bang.
What about transgender? That's in the Third Amendment too.
Yes,
where a transgender, a kid, can let's say he could be 7 or 8 years old, 9 or 10, and here's some of this stuff on TV, feels a little uncomfortable in his life at that time, as most children are and do feel, as I have felt, probably as you have felt as a child, and wondered. Of course, I didn't wonder about this. Who knew anything about it back then? But they're getting taught by these teachers, some of them, that, well, you can change your gender. So if the kids want to go and see somebody about that, the state is saying that they are legally obligated to be able to do so without the interference of a parent.
That's absolutely right.
Custody of your child if you refuse him this, and it doesn't even have to be a doctor. It could be somebody in healthcare. If I gave you an aspirin, one aspirin, I could be considered a healthcare guy or gal or whatever you want to call me, okay?
You apparently have read the text of this thing, as have I. It is absolutely wrong for a child that has not come of age, which is 18 in Missouri, to be able to make those decisions by themselves. That is a parental right and a parental obligation. And to have external influences working on these children is absolutely wrong. To encase that as state law is an abomination. And this needs to be voted down in the worst sort of way. There was an awful lot of out-of-state influence, Planned Parenthood and others, who influenced this nasty little piece of...
a lot of money went into this, too, because Planned Parenthood is financially gaining from this. They're financially gaining from the murder and transition of sexes on our kids. That's
for your listeners, please go into that polling booth and vote no on that nasty little piece of legislation.
Okay, now what's 2?
Say that again.
What's Amendment 2?
Amendment 2 is another nasty little thing, which is, if you recall, we were sold a bill of goods on riverboat gambling. And this was supposed to support our education system. Ours is not the worst in the United States, but it's close to it. We pour a lot of money into that. Well, we were sold a bill of goods. Now they want to do this online gambling and add a casino up in Lake of the Ozarks, and that is completely against what the initial legislation was so many years ago. This too, gambling addiction is a pretty awful thing. And the way this thing is written, supposedly $100 billion a year will go to education. If you look at the way the initial legislation many years ago was done, those same promises existed, but that money ended up siphoned off into all sorts of administrative places, and very little actually gets to education. So please vote this nasty little thing down. These are both bad for Missouri and bad for families, and should never have made it into the running for amending our Constitution.
Anything else we should know about that sticks out in your wonderfully talented brain in the voting?
Well, in the voting, you and I have already voted, so we have made our...
And I voted because you said I could.
Well, you can.
You gave me permission to talk, and you told me where to go.
Has Lisa Ann voted yet?
She has not.
Please take her by her lovely hand and go down to the courthouse and make your thoughts known.
I think she'll do it.
I'm sure she will.
She got busy.
JP, that goes for you too.
Well,
let them know what you really think.
Walked out. I don't know why, but he just walked out. I don't understand.
That's kind of tough to have a show with your producer who has bailed on you. That's going to make it kind of hard to get the clips
to school, and he got to be like 8 minutes till the show started. And he's not here, and I'm saying, well, I don't understand the equipment. I should learn it, but
yeah, this may become interesting. Or teach Lisa.
He got here and got everything done. So, and got all the things that we needed. So we're doing fine. We're talking about you behind your back. I heard. Yeah, all right.
May I change channels on you for a moment?
Of course you can.
One of the things that I had prepped for today is the 60 Minutes interview and the Brett Baer interview.
Oh, God, yes.
And I'm prepared to say a few things about that. Now, this is opinion, so please allow me to opine. The 60 Minutes interview, not very long after that heavily edited portion was broadcast, a transcript of the actual questions and answers surfaced. And initially, I thought it was damning enough that, this is probably disinformation. Well, it turns out it was not. It's been verified with 3 different sources. The woman is known for not answering questions. She goes by rote with the same old tired and aggravating things that she always says, but she really doesn't answer the questions. People have called it a word salad. Well, 60 Minutes was bad enough, okay? And CBS is taking some grief over that. But the Brett Baer interview on Fox, this woman sunk her own boat. Brett Baer asked some pointed questions, and they were not loaded questions. These are plain old questions about fact and policy that any politician worth their salt.
A comparison to what she said and now what she's promoting as policy.
Yeah.
Right.
Consider the alternatives, which is Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
Both of them are capable of giving off-the-cuff answers that actually have some factual matter behind them. And in particular, J.D. Vance of late has really nailed the policy stuff. He's not afraid to talk to the press.
That was a great pick by Donald Trump, let me tell you.
Pretty good.
Turned
the
out
other side
good.
of that coin, though, is Kamala. There's a couple of things that are going to sink her boat. The Brett Baer interview, I would encourage your viewers to watch that thing. It's 18 or 20 minutes, and it's worth watching. I had to close my eyes for part of it because I can't stand looking at the woman, and it's tough for me to listen to what she has to say. But she didn't answer any.
You want to see what her pattern is, though. Okay, her pattern is that she'll say stuff, and the only people she will see is comedians or people or The View, and she's used to that kind of treatment, and she has no way of combating somebody who's going to challenge her a little bit. But here you said this, now you're saying that, and her answer is, I was just a poor middle class gal and all that. I worked at McDonald's, which is proven now she hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And if she was around, I don't know. I don't think I'd fire her necessarily because of her political views, but maybe hanging around in the back parking lot with all the customers might be a bad thing. Anyways, but she didn't. She won't go on anything that doesn't have a friendly guy to give her or gal to give her an out when she has some difficulty. They won't challenge her. All right.
Well, Brett Baer
She's
certainly
used to that. Well, here's the problem. She's used to that. When Brett Baer said, "I don't understand what you're saying," and she says, "Well, I don't see, what you don't understand about how terrible Donald Trump is." Basically, she kept going back to that. She wouldn't answer the question.
Now, the fact is, in that Brett Baer interview, his first question was, how many people have illegally entered this country? as a result of your being our border
The czar.
czar.
Yeah.
And under the Biden administration, and she never did answer the question. He said 1 million, 2 million, 5 million. The number is almost 13 million. She did a dance around that because that would be a damning fact for her to admit on network television that oh yeah, by the way, under my tutelage, we let in 13 million. We don't know how many of those are terrorists, criminals. Pick any number, Dave. You and I can both guess it.
Yeah.
But she didn't answer the question, and she did everything she could to not answer the question and the 3 questions after that.
Right.
And near the end of that interview, that was supposed to be, I think, a 28-minute segment. At about minute number 18, her staff was doing the cut. We got to stop this thing because her performance was so dismal. And
But
Fox did
you
not
know?
edit.
Did you know she was about 15 minutes late?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, she was 15 minutes late, and then she's yelling at him because he wouldn't go on with the interview.
The point there is, though, Dave, between the dismal FEMA response with the 2 hurricanes,
right,
add to that the awful 60 Minutes interview, and then just to put some icing on top of that cake, the Bret Baier interview, the woman is sinking, and she's sinking fast, and the polls show that. And
it sure looks that way, you know that. And I don't believe these polls for a second. I think a lot of Trump people like myself and like you, we don't want to talk to these pollsters. We don't know what they're going to do to us. Okay.
Well,
why talk to them if we don't have to?
We would prefer to be invisible in that regard. And the polls, the big network polls, which you and I probably don't much agree with, say they're still within a point or 2 of each other. I completely disagree with that.
Of course they're not.
After, if you watch Vance and Trump, and then you compare that with the dismal Kamala Harris performance on network television, the woman, she's sinking. And you can write polls any way you wish, but I think when it comes time for people to go in and mark that ballot, I believe Trump's going to take this in a landslide. Now, this is not the red wave we talked about a while back, which unfortunately fizzled pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see a trend of vast improvement in the Senate and maybe a little in the House of Representatives. That's still a bit iffy. But I do think Donald J. Trump's going to be elected president if they don't steal this.
The Democrats have a lot of money. They have some billionaires that are giving them tons of money. And these billionaires, a couple of them, are culpable in the Epstein saga.
Oh, yes.
And if Trump gets elected, they're thinking that their names are going to be out. And one of them happens to be Bill Gates of Microsoft.
Yeah. This is a little bit of scandal that I hadn't prepped for, but it happens. I have a little knowledge about that. And I think it would be
knowledge of everything.
I think it would be politically advantageous to the Trump regime to release Epstein's little book and just see how dirty our politicians actually are. I think we would all be appalled. Now, when Trump actually becomes president, he's got a 100-day agenda. You can bet that the top 20% or so of a lot of the lettered groups are going to find themselves out of work. That is just fine. It's about time for our Justice Department and our intelligence services to come back to representing the people of this country rather than representing their pocketbook. So, yeah, I think this should be an interesting time. Dave, a very ancient Chinese curse is "May you live in interesting times," and it was meant to be very negative. But you and I both, we never expected to see this in our lifetime.
Well, I remember, becoming a part of, going on my first show, being terrible at it, and in KTTR.
Yep.
And did a half-hour show and interviewed my dentist. Okay. Antilac, and and so I went back and said, "Well, how'd I do?" And Mike Thompson said, "If you do another show like that, you won't have a show."
Yeah.
I figured out, well, I gotta do what I'm here supposed to do.
Well, you
which is
actually
really
succeeded in
dig
that,
deep.
and the time with KKID I thought was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Not exactly a good fit in a hippie rock and roll station, but
Well,
actually
okay.
it went pretty well.
He gave me a couple. He gave me a couple years. I think he wasn't capable of having that kind of um, stuff in his studio.
Yeah.
And the other guy, the first guy, I don't think he was capable of having some guy talk about politics and religion like that. It's a different. It's a different. What was it with the best of all time? And now I can't think of his name. Rush Limbaugh. Rush
Oh,
Limbaugh.
yeah.
9 times. This is how long he was.
9 times.
9 times.
9 times.
Kicked out 9 times.
Well, the point is, Dave,
I've only been kicked out twice. I'm winning.
You persist until you succeed.
Right.
And if you have that persistence, you will always succeed because you never give up.
I've given up at times, and I've when I was younger, mainly, and I discovered that if I don't give up, that generally I'm going to figure out how to win.
Yeah, of course.
It's a process.
It's
a
pretty
process.
simple.
And if you believe God is helping you a little, as I've learned recently, He had to have helped me do some of the success I had when I was younger, but I didn't connect the two. But now I do. I connect it.
I got a parting
Go ahead.
thought for you, Dave. We're up against a heartbreak here pretty soon. I don't want to steal the rabbi's thunder because I know he's coming up next, and I know he's got a bunch.
This is going to be something, isn't it?
It'll be good. The intelligence coup of the century, in my opinion, was the walkie-talkies and the pagers. I've been looking into that, and Israel was working on that thing, the concept anyway, for years.
Yeah, about 20
Mossad
years.
acted pretty quickly to make that happen and turn it into hardware.
Wow.
I got to tell you, to compare and contrast, our intelligence community is not capable of that because they've become so top-heavy and politicized. Mossad, on the other hand, did that so very brilliantly.
Yeah.
And now they've killed another Hamas leader down in Gaza.
The biggest one.
This one they managed to catch by accident.
Yahya Sinwar.
I don't care if it's accident or not. Maybe God sent them there.
Well, they were looking for him, but they found him by accident. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so pleased about that. I should, as a Christian, I should not be pleased about the death of another human being. But I believe that the world is better as a result of this fellow no longer being there. I hope he's got his 76 virgins. Nobody bothered to tell him that they're all male.
Well, yeah. Jesus. Now. It's not funny, but you got people in Israel. We're hearing this for the first time. They showed apartment buildings. They had people all over Israel singing about this. It's a holiday there. It's a holiday there every day, I guess. I don't even know what the hell, Sukkot or something. I don't know, but it's a holiday, and people were at home. They weren't at work, and they were singing in the apartments and coming out and celebrating.
I am really pleased that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to carry this thing to its conclusion.
Well, we'll see.
Which is a win. And if you look at our executive branch, and particularly our Secretary of State, who's a moron, he's a little bit smarter than Kamala, but not by much.
And he's Jewish.
Push the two-state solution, continues to press for a ceasefire, even though Hamas is not willing to return the hostages. And the fact is, they're probably mostly dead anyway, not well treated there. Bibi Netanyahu, my hat is off to you. You keep going on this thing until there aren't any more of those terrorists left. And at that point, you will have a secure Israel.
All right, my friend, your time is up, but you'll be back next week with another edition of JJ Justice right there. Please give a big round of applause to my friend and the opening act of the Dave Weinbaum Show, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
It has been my pleasure, Dave.
Thank you, JJ.
Good day.
And somebody say hi to you. Who was that?
That was Roy Maddox, who likes to comment frequently when Mr.
There he is, Roy
JJ
Maddox.
is on.
Morning, Bradshaw. And I'm wondering, is that a blue tail? Is that
like a blue healer?
Is that a blue healer?
It looks like a blue healer to me.
Blue healer, right on your screen, right there. Is that a blue healer?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That looks a lot like Oscar with the really white body.
I know.
That looks a lot like Oscar.
All right, Patricia Odin Maxwell, looking good, sounding good. Go team. Okay, and we better. Let's see, Shannon Reed, good morning. You know what? I don't need a commercial until later anyways. Rico Camino, who knows Rick Henderson very well. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Yep. So that's all of them except for, I think Roy Maddox actually replied to our question.
Oh, he did?
Yes, Blue Healer.
Blue Healer. That was Buddy Love. He must be passed away, the poor doggy.
Hopefully not.
He's over there playing with Oscar, honey.
Yep.
And we had she had a Blue Healer.
That looked like that with the lighter body.
Was a neat dog. And those healer dogs, they're so smart.
So smart.
So as we get closer to the election, we all know that this is going to happen, but we need to really be watching out for misinformation.
Yes.
And even with Facebook here, I noticed something yesterday. A friend of mine posted a video that was speaking against Tim Walz, and it was labeled as sensitive content.
Yeah.
Where you had to agree that you wanted to see this content and it didn't automatically play. Yet I notice any video that talks negatively about Trump is not considered sensitive content.
Of course.
I find that interesting.
Well, it's going on all over the place. You got right now. You've got Twitter X is taking people off. They're taking followers away from everybody that happens to be, in my knowledge, conservative. Right now, they're doing it to me. They're doing it to others because I was wondering what happened to me. All of a sudden, I've never been curtailed under Elon, to my knowledge, and here it is that all of a sudden. Elon, if you're listening, the children have stolen the cookies and the cookie jar again. Get back on the job. I know it's great that you're out there talking to Trump. Why did it go out there for a moment? Huh. See, that I wonder if they're answering me there.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, my wife's now playing into this music.
So I did see a couple pics that I thought was interesting. So somebody put a Facebook article up, or it's actually a picture, and it was a picture that said Trump, and it says, "Truth really upsets most people." That's what Trump stands for.
I saw that. You sent it to me.
That's good.
And then there was another one that said, this Build Back Better thing must be waiting on the building permits because it still hasn't happened.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's not bad.
There's something not happening.
Not bad. Well, let's talk a little bit. Well, we're not going to do we could do funny stuff. How about we do Reagan and Carlin.
Yep.
He was called in by his editor and told of a fire that was raging in Palos Verdes. That's a hilly area in the southern part of Los Angeles County. And the photographer's assignment was to rush down to a small local airport, board a waiting plane, go out and get some pictures of the fire and be back in time for the afternoon edition. Well, he raced down the freeway, broke all the traffic laws, got to the airport, drove his car to the end of the runway, and sure enough, there was a plane revving up its engines, ready to go. He jumped in the plane shouting, "Let's go," and they were off. At about 5,000 feet, he began getting his camera out of the bag, told the fellow flying the plane to get him over the fire so he could get his pictures and get back to the paper. And from the other side of the cockpit, there was a deafening silence. And then he heard those words he will always remember. "Aren't you the instructor?"
Okay, hi there. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, your favorite fan, Karen Lewis.
Karen Lewis. That's right off. I knew that. Of course, they told me who it was. Kinda. She's telling me. I said, who is it? My wife was saying Karen Smith. That's just what are you talking about?
No,
All right, I
listen,
gotta be really quick with you. And if you want more time, because I got the rabbi staring at me. He's
okay,
he's
well, this will
actually
be very quick.
scowling at me. Go ahead.
All right. I was on watching Fox and Friends
Yeah.
this morning with President Trump on the Kirby
I
couch.
listened to part of that.
and
Yes,
if you didn't watch the whole thing, you need to go watch.
I will.
I mean, it was seriously great. But he was making America great again. But the thing that he's going to do, I think, if I understood right, he's going to a McDonald's somewhere tomorrow to do the French fries. And my question to you is, Dave Weinbaum, my friend, is he coming to your stores or errands?
He hasn't come yet, but Salem, Missouri would be a good spot.
I think it'd be excellent myself.
Well, yeah, I mean, I sent him some money. I haven't heard from the guy yet. So it's fine. It's all fine. They're kind of busy right now. You know what I'm saying? All right.
We have to do the MAGA effect, and thank you for your.
Well, thanks for the notice, and I appreciate you, Karen. Not Smith, Karen Lewis. Thank you.
All
right,
thanks,
bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, wartime rabbi changes the dollars that you sent him for modern helmets and knee pads for the soldiers and delivers them on site, even in war areas. Please welcome the original and the second most powerful man in Israel and the official rabbi to the Dave Weinbaum Show, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild, all the way from Israel. Are you in Israel right now?
I am. Yes,
All right.
I am.
So Israel threatens Israel with Israel. USA threatens Israel with an arms embargo, and that they shot at the UN people by Israel. What's going on?
Yeah, well, these suggestions of arms embargoes and not going into Rafah, etc., clearly puts this administration on the wrong side of history. And, as our prime minister said to Macron of France, we will win this with or without you. And while it might be more difficult with an arms embargo, we will find a way. We always have, and we always will.
Yeah, I like the attitude.
Yeah,
I like the attitude, and that's the attitude that he's had since the invasion on October the 7th. No longer are we going to sit around and mow the lawn. We're going to mow the leaders.
Yeah. Look,
okay, that should be
the United States.
Mow the lawn, mow the leaders.
The United States is by far Israel's most important ally. But when you have an administration like the current one of Biden-Harris, and unfortunately, if Harris wins another 4 years of this, Israel has to learn to become self-reliant or to find other allies that are going to be able to supply us and stand with us until we get an administration that understands the importance of the alliance, with Israel. So, I think it's looking good now for Trump. Personally, I think he has a good momentum, and we'll see what happens.
Well, he's going to get, except for the idiots in the Democratic Party who happen to be Jewish. Why they're still there is beyond me. They're not really. You can't be Jewish and be in the Democratic Party. They don't like Jews. They hate Jews. You don't have the leadership show up even to Netanyahu's speeches at the UN and in the Congress itself. Yeah. So, anyways, just one last thing about Macron in France. He said the UN created Israel, and Bibi shouldn't forget. What do you think of that? What an SOB.
As we've said many times in the show, France is going down the tubes. They open their doors, they open their hearts to the jihadis, They allow them to practically take over their country, and a guy like Macron has to play to them. And it's hard to take him seriously. I don't take him
It's like
seriously.
having a butcher do your heart surgery, open hearts,
Yeah.
and he's opening it with an axe.
Yeah.
Amazing. 30 Hamas affiliated organizations are in 7 Euro countries. Okay, so they're all over the world, all over the, they probably got them here now with all the things that were happening with the border being, nobody knows who's here really, but we know some who are here, plenty of Chinese, like about 50,000 of them. And they have set up shop all over the United States as well as the Mexican cartels. So,
yeah, look, if the United States doesn't wake up, what's happening in Europe, this slow death of Europe is going to happen in the United States. And, they just don't get it. There is an alliance between the American left and this, I hate to say it, the American left and the anti-American, the anti-American sentiment around the world.
yeah.
And they're going to pull America down the tubes, and it's going to.
Well, don't forget the cartels. The cartels are big time partners with the Democrats. Big time. And they're making a lot. I think that's where some of the money's coming to try to get Kamala in there.
Yeah.
Like amazing.
So up to the veterans, as she said.
I've kind of hidden this headline that just happened late yesterday, and that's Yahya Sinwar's death has been recognized and celebrated amongst Israel. Why would you celebrate a guy's death?
Well, it's like when you hear the news that Hitler is gone, or you hear the news that Osama bin Laden is gone. So, of course, we're going to celebrate. This is a guy who's the mastermind behind the October 7th massacre. He's the one that we know a few weeks ago ordered the 6 hostages that were with him to be killed. This is a guy with no conscience, with no morals, that the world is far better off without him. And, I think it presents an opportunity for Israel. But we were drinking, toasting last night to the death of Sinwar.
Yeah.
As I say, Sinwar, and now he's Sinwas. People are very happy.
I guess you can laugh if he's Hitler. He is. Yeah.
The fact that he's gone, and it's just about a year since October 7th. It's it's brought a lot of comfort to people here, especially those whose family members were taken hostage or killed, and he was the mastermind behind it. And seeing him, suffer. There's drone footage. I don't know if you got to see it, of what happened to him at the very end.
No, he was kind of buried in rubble. They showed him.
Oh no, they've drone footage when he was alive. He was sitting in a chair. His arm was blown off, and the drone is filming him. And he tries to grab a stick and throw it at the drone.
Yeah.
And then, then the tanks blasted the building. It was a soldier who had been serving for 9 months. Took him out. They took him out by accident. They didn't even realize it was him until after. They thought it was just a general, run-of-the-mill terrorist.
Yeah.
And afterwards, they looked at the body and said, "Gee, this guy looks a lot like Sinwar." And based on his dental records, because he had sat in an Israeli jail for many years, they were able to identify him in DNA. And ding dong, the Wicked Witch is dead.
Okay, Hitler is dead. The Arab Hitler, the Hamas Hitler is dead. What happens now?
Right. So I nobody knows for sure, but I think there's an opportunity here. It seems that people were saying beforehand that Sinwar was the one really holding up a hostage deal. So I think if a lot of pressure is put on Hamas right now, not only by Israel, but by the United States, by Egypt, by Qatar, I think there is the possibility of a ceasefire and a hostage deal, one that's much more favorable. That's one possibility. Of course, the other possibility is that they just continue going and try to replace him. They
don't announce to anybody now that they're going to be a leader of Hezbollah or Hamas. I'm the next leader.
Yeah,
that gives me a life expectancy of about 15 hours.
Yeah, you don't get a life insurance policy.
No,
no one's going to underwrite that policy for you. So
how are they going to stay alive if they're going to have secret leaders? They got to have somebody to be able to tell somebody to set off that missile somewhere, or the drone, or whatever, or the bomb. So who's going to do that? And they're going to have to all be insiders. And then where does Iran come into this? What are they thinking?
Yeah, I mean, look, I have no doubt that Iran is shaking in their boots. They're terrified. There's no question that the Ayatollah of Iran is on Israel's hit list. It's all just a matter of time till Israel hunts these guys down. Everyone who was involved and responsible for October 7th will pay the price.
That's why I'm saying, if they do have a ceasefire, if they do have a recommendation, Israel takes it strongly that they enforce themselves the UN 701, that they will be able to inspect anything about any weaponry there, and that in Hamas area in Gaza, that they have a strong representation there in their military in Gaza. I wouldn't touch it unless it was really strong, because you're just inviting them back if you don't.
Yeah, I think Netanyahu would agree with you, and I think at the moment Israel's in a very strong negotiating position.
You're not going to get a stronger one than this.
Yeah,
unless you had a good president, and that one hopefully is coming in.
Yeah, so we have to keep acting quickly and with an iron fist, and insist on our terms, and not cave in now. So I think there is an opportunity. It's not that Sinwar can't be replaced, but he's such an iconic figure in the Hamas world that taking him out,
we all know it's huge. We all know it's huge.
People here are honking horns on the streets last night.
I saw the clips of that. I don't know if that came from.
There was great celebration here. Yeah.
So I was going to ask another question. Now it's past my mind. It's not Passover yet, is it? What is the holiday? Today's Sukkot?
It is Sukkot. It's the Feast of Tabernacles right now. It started on Wednesday night, and we're smack in the middle, and celebrating.
Everybody basically was home, and they were all singing.
Yeah, everyone was home. Last night we got together with some friends just to sing and raise a glass, and it was a moment of euphoria. But now we got to get back to work.
One of the other allies is the UN to Hamas and to Hezbollah. They've even been UN personnel on the invasion on 10/7 and other operations. What are you going to do? That's a big problem for Israel. What are they going to do?
Well, I don't know if you saw this, Dave, but Sinwar had two bodyguards, and one of them, his ID, he was an UNRWA teacher. His ID was
an UNRWA teacher.
He was the United Nations Relief Works Agency. That's UNRWA, UNRWA. He was his ID said he was a teacher for them.
So the UN, we know, has infiltrated the the leftist, communist, Nazi-like organizations of Hamas and Hezbollah. How can the U.S. How can the U.S. and or the Israel tolerate being members with these idiots?
It is unbelievable. When Trump was there, he defunded it. He defunded the UNRWA.
And I got a feeling Trump's going to walk in and say, "Yeah, nice piece of real estate you got here in New York. You know what? I think we're going to take away your lease."
Yeah.
So I don't know where you're going to go, but you're not good in the United States of America. Go somewhere else.
The UN, one of their employees was Sinwar's bodyguard. You understand what that means? That for almost a year,
they're in on it.
They could have identified where Sinwar was and brought this to a head a year ago.
Yeah, and they kept it a secret how close they were with Hamas and Hezbollah. They kept it a secret, which added to the killing and taking of hostages, including American hostages. There's still 7 Americans left there, according to what the news tells you.
And there was a UN teacher was holding hostages. I mean, it's such an embarrassment. It's such a waste of money that the world pumps into this useless organization.
You got it. So now let's talk about the people that actually back Israel. Shaq O'Neal backed it. You think Kenya might come next?
I don't know. We'll see. I hope so.
Who knows? I don't think so.
Shaquille, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, very good friends of Israel.
Are they?
Yeah.
Good. Italian. How about Kyrie Irving?
Not so much.
Italians stand up and applaud Israel's national anthem at a football game.
Yeah.
How about that? Hey, forget about it. We're with the Italians. I've always identified Jews to be close to Italians. I don't know why, because they got the Vatican there. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they say that Jewish grandmothers and Italian grandmothers are very similar. You know what the only difference is?
What's that?
The mustache. But other than that,
wait a minute. I'm not going to say which one. I thought you were going to say the nose. But they got the nose for the most part. So what the hell? No, in case you're listening, that's Rabbi Moshe. I did not. And Tel Aviv attack is orchestrated by Turkey. Are these Turks going to get involved?
Look, Turkey is, used to be a secular Arab state, secular Muslim state until Erdogan took over, and he's turning it into a one of these fanatical religious Muslim jihadi states, and siding with Hamas. He is a haven for Hamas operatives in Turkey. And,
we're talking about attacking Israel as well.
Yeah. Look, the Bible predicts that all the bad comes from the north, and Turkey is north of us. And, we haven't had a good relationship ever since Erdogan took over.
The one time he did.
He's a big problem.
So what's the big secret? And this is maybe one of your scoops for Rabbi Rants. What's the big thing? What is the big news that we're going to like when Israel does finally pay back Iran for all the missiles they've been sending into Israel? Yeah. What is this thing we're all going to be like really shocked about?
I don't know. I thought it was coming last week, but I'm not sure.
Well, it's going to come.
I'm very hopeful that it actually influences the U.S. election, but I don't think that's an intention. It might be a byproduct, but we'll see.
Well, here's a guy that's been on TV an awful lot lately, and that's the son of the last person who was really,
the founder of Hamas, you mean?
No, I'm talking about the good guy, the guy that was the Shah of Persia, of Iran.
Oh, he was in exile now.
Yeah, that's his son, but he's out there talking about stuff. I wonder if they'll reinstate him, because I
hope so.
Follow him. The people.
I thought you meant the son of Hamas is also a good guy. He was he was a spy for Israel. He was the founder of the son of Hamas.
Hey, Patricia Oden Maxwell, so glad to see and hear you, Rabbi Moshe. So glad you and your family are doing well and are safe. Okay, that's the official rabbi on the show, and we also have the official minister on this show, preacher, and that's Odin,
Pastor Pat.
There you go. All right. So, any more scoops or rabbi rants?
No, but I do want to wish all of you a happy Sukkot and a Feast of Tabernacles. For those who are celebrating.
Book? Okay. I'm going to show your book, and while he's saying it, tell us how we can get the book.
Yes, right. It's up on your screen. You can go to our website, secretsofthehebrewbible.org. You can order yourselves a copy there, and we'd love to hear from you guys after you read it. My email address is in there. Or you can go to our website, israelalliance.org, or facebook.com/Israel Alliance. Of course, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
I have to tell Moshe that my can that he gave us it's pretty much full again, so I got to go get it counted again and make another contribution. So I'll be doing that in the coming days.
That's good.
Super.
Good.
So I don't know if you knew this or not, but well, wait. Do we get where we're going to contribute? Is that on there right now? Okay,
we
contribute
did that already.
to Alliance. All right, they got that. They can see that.
Yeah.
Did you know that contrarians beer a nurse?
Say that again.
Contrarians beer a nurse. They don't nurse a beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cricket worthy.
You guys, that was.
Sorry, but if it makes me go, huh? Then I can't do it.
I actually invented the word contrarians. I don't think it was a word before, but I got it in a quote, and I don't remember the quote now, but it was in Forbes, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
On that
note, well, let's hear it all the way from Israel, a man who has never has a stump over a joke like me, but he will steal your jokes like he's done to me. But he's my favorite rabbi in the whole world and a good friend. Can you be a good rabbi and a good friend? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, mazel tov to what's happening in Israel. Mazel tov to the change in attitude that seems to have encompassed. This is what Jews are supposed to be like. We don't take crap from anybody, no matter how big they are. This is the way we need to be. We want to be your friends. We want to be your allies, but we are not going to be pushed around all over the earth.
That's right.
That's straight from what I believe God wants. Okay, bad joke. Good proclamation. That's what that is. All right. Thank you, Rabbi.
Take care,
let's
guys.
hear it from Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. Bye-bye. All right. I think we got to do a commercial now, don't we?
Yeah, we can do a commercial break, but
Yes,
right
but
before commercial break,
Okay,
I want
let's
to
do it.
follow up with your great little speech that you just gave with something else you said on the show that I think is definitely
please do.
worth bringing up.
Do it. I discovered that in life. I used to give up, and I still have. Doesn't everybody have a tendency to give up when things get bad? Doesn't that, Lisa?
It's human nature.
Yeah, it's human nature.
Definitely.
And usually, giving up is the worst thing you can do. It's the worst thing you can do. And I did it as a kid. And I did it a few times, even as an adult. And I get tempted at times. The best thing you can do is to sleep on it. Sleep on it. See what you think about it in the morning. In the morning, you might come up with a solution because your mind is clear. When you get angry and you get frustrated, it's a little bit like it takes something out of you. You don't see a way out. So you want to quit, and because it's painful. But when you get up in the morning, as Andrea Shrum says, you want to fight, like what Trump did when he was shot. Fight. I thought he was saying something else, but no, it's something, and it's the right thing to do.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Raleigh, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender, all one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrell's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Raleigh, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh, baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. Acar Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hi there, we're back, and are we going to call Adolf, or is he calling us? I will call him. Okay, you're calling him, but I remembered that quote I wrote that was in the Forbes magazine. Contrarians drink to remember. I'm going to get crickets on that probably too. I don't care. I'll give you applause on that. Yeah. It was only in Forbes magazine. Yeah, for goodness sakes. Me and Yogi Berra and places people like that. Hi there, welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. What's your name, Adolf, and where are you from?
Yeah, you know where I'm calling from.
I know where you're calling from, but I don't want to tell anybody because they might, want your autograph and bother you and all this stuff. So,
not too many people want my autograph.
Yeah. So what's stuck in your craw
Not much.
Besides a healthy heart now these days?
That, if you go back a couple of years, like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And when Biden got elected, and then all of a sudden, now Iran's got money and more money and more money. And now what do we have? We have war with Israel.
Yeah. And you got war in Israel. You got war in the Ukraine. By the way, did you know that North Korea is now going to fight in the Ukraine on the Russian side against the Ukraine and against America, where we've got World War III forming by the Democrats. Yeah. This has nothing to do with Trump. He stopped it all. He stopped all the crap. Okay, and they're calling him unstable. They're nuts.
He had this.
He had wackos.
He had this thing called the Abraham Accords that brought peace to the Middle East, which is something that everybody talked about for so long.
And I think they'll get back to it.
It came so close to peace.
Well, peace is peace is something that comes and goes, and you're going to have wars, and we know that. It's human nature. There's also a lot of money to be made in wars. Your industrial military complex, as Eisenhower brought out. And so there's always going to be these guys that are connected that are in the army that are going to be generals and things like that are getting paid by these firms and or a lot of stock from these firms. And if they're not making rifles and tanks, they're not making money. So you got to have a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
There's the key. Trump cut off the supply of money to Iran.
Well, he's done that.
With no money, they can't fight. They can't export weapons. They can't do anything.
He bankrupted them after Barack Obama had a huge pallet of cash. I don't know how many millions of dollars or maybe even billions of dollars he was giving them. This is Obama.
Yep.
But it was It was taxpayer money. He stole our money and sent it to somebody that hates us and hates Israel, our alleged ally, who got really strong after they cut out the oil here as well. So Biden just, what he did is he reversed back to the Obama policies. He has a lot of Obama people in his administration. And then he's got a wacko hired on DEI who is clueless as to what evil she's calling for, which is extraordinary. Yeah, she's going to go to the grocery stores and fix the gougers, the price gougers. Well, that's not how it happened, dear. It's not how it's going to get fixed either, dear. The stores aren't making hardly any money. It's 1.5%.
We got grocery stores going out of business.
Yeah,
because they can't keep up.
Exactly. You got restaurants going out of business because they can't keep up. You know, trust me, I know about this. I know about this. All right.
I'm slowly getting a little more hopeful with the election. Getting a little more hopeful. It's looking better every day. I
have
think.
You voted?
No, I haven't voted yet. I got to go over probably tomorrow or Monday.
Well, get your butt over there before something happens on voting day, and they give you I mean, they actually fix the elections in Arizona like this. Guys would come in to vote, and they would send them to other places that they weren't registered at in Arizona. All right. And a lot of people didn't get to vote that way. And they knew who those people were.
I anticipate very large crowds in where we would vote. So, but I can't get around so much with this silly walker that I got with me, and I can't stand for long periods of time. So we'll go over to the courthouse and
that's what I'm saying. You have a good excuse. Yeah. You see, they want an excuse. I didn't have an excuse, so I looked at all the excuses on there, and it says I'm busy on that day, and I plan to be busy on that day now.
Well, me personally,
because I don't want to lie about it.
Back what I was doing before was the election judge, but I can't do that because I can't be up that long period of time. That's a long day.
You got that? Oh, I agree with that. That's a long day for you. You shouldn't have to do that.
Well, let's see. I'd get there at 5:30 in the morning, and then I wouldn't get home till 9 o'clock at night.
Now, I just got back from Dallas. Flew back last night. I'm not entirely mentally. I'm a little tired. Okay, and and then my wife drove me home, and I'm trying to do show prep in the car, and that's not working real well.
It's tough.
It's tough. It really is tough. So I have
one question for you.
Yeah, what's that?
When is the rabbi coming? I know there's a war on over there, but when is the rabbi coming back?
He was here once. He wasn't at my house though. He was in New Jersey.
Okay.
Maybe visiting relatives. I don't know where he went after that.
Probably Lakewood. That's
he hasn't. Yeah, Rabbi hasn't told us about any recent plans to come to Missouri. So
yeah.
Okay. Oh well, that's what it would be nice to visit with him again.
Yeah, sure.
That's the most enjoyable time.
Sure. And remember Pastor Pat? What I didn't know when he was there was that this is the first time he's been around any Christians at all. Okay,
is that right?
To speak of, yeah. He did a guide for a guy and his fiancée in Israel. He was a tour guide. He is a tour guide.
Yeah,
and there was a friendship that came out of that. He ended up this is in the future. He ended up marrying them as a couple, and that was, and we actually got to see the ceremony. It was in a hotel room in Rolla. And
my own personal opinion between Iran and Egypt and Israel is I doubt very highly that they would want to use a nuclear weapon in Israel currently because they don't want to destroy the country. They just want to get rid of the Jews.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the real problem. The real problem is Israel can take out Iran with its nuclear weapons, which
Oh,
we
I know
all
they
know
could.
which they deny having any knowledge of, and
No, I know
always
they
will.
could.
But right now, they can't even hurt Israel with all the rockets, and it's going to get worse on them because now Israel's starting to use the laser defense to knock out all these things, and it's just a zap, and they're out. Right now,
Yeah.
they're sending expensive bombs and missiles and drones at the things being shot at them, and it's pretty damn effective.
Yes,
And
it
they
is.
just keep sending the stuff over. One or two of them get through, but hardly any casualties. Hardly any buildings have been hit in Israel. You look at Gaza; it's a mess.
Yeah.
All right, you probably
Well,
look
they
at
want the land. They don't care about the Jews.
no, yes, they do. Come on, read the Bible. My God, yeah, no, they care about the Jews enough to want to kill every single one of us, man, woman, and child. You know, I'm wondering when these people who are sent by Iran who are talking about killing the Jews at these schools, I wonder if we can target them a little bit. Okay, I'm not saying kill them, but scare the hell out of them. You know, they're trying to.
Oh, they're pretty scared when they sit there and
they're tough.
from a distance and
exactly
blow up their phones and stuff.
Exactly my thoughts. You were in the Army, weren't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So, what do you think of Wise, or what's his name?
What? Oh, the ex-Minnesota governor?
Yeah.
That's a
Walsh.
nutcase.
A nutcake, yeah.
That's a nutcase.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, he's right up there with the fruitcakes.
The what?
I mean, he's loose as you can be. I mean, I've never seen anybody as terrible as him. He's number one. He's a communist, without a doubt.
Yeah. He's a China boy.
I'm not afraid to tell him what they are.
Jeez. I can't see how people with a brain can vote for any of these people. However, they're going to get votes because they've got a lot of
they've
people
been lied to for 5 years, 10 years. You know, ever since Obama came around, it's been lie.
Yep. All right, my friend. Anything else you got?
No, I'm good to go.
All right,
getting better. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's good. Let me see if I got anything for you here. Cowards who face their fears cease to be cowards. How's that? That's a good one. He's making up for the crickets he gave me on the last one, which I don't blame him.
Yeah, I've been passing around one message before people vote.
What's that?
Take Jesus with you to the voting booth.
Okay. In my case, I'm taking.
In your case,
I took God myself. God Himself. I took Him. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and if I ever get to heaven, I want to talk this thing out with God, Jesus, Muhammad. I want to listen to these guys and what they have to say. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't think Muhammad will be there, but that's just my personal.
Well, probably not. But if I get to talk to him, maybe I go visit, Hades. Okay, I don't know.
I don't know, but I sit down and say,
what else do you have to look forward to if you're going to die? What else do you have to look forward to?
Yeah, that's the truth.
I mean, if your soul can, think about stuff and know that stuff, why things happen like they have and why they did, and get a good reason for everything, as God will have, I'm sure. Here's something from Patricia Oden Maxwell Adolf. We will let you know when Rabbi Moshe comes to the church. Quit bothering me about it. No, she didn't say that. Yeah, but I'm saying it. Get off my phone.
Okay. Right. Have a great one.
You too. Hi to Joanne.
Yep, we can do that.
All right, bye. Okay, we're back on, and we got in 7 minutes or so. We've got, who do we got next? We have
Traveler.
We have Time Traveler next. This guy is fascinating to me. I don't know if you find him fascinating or not, but there's more and more evidence that this is something that actually happened, that we do have these aliens flying around our skies. I had a guy in Texas, no connection to this, a friend of my friend of my wife's husband, who I've never met before. I never met her, and he was showing me these clips of these little things dotting around the sky, around a star, and all that stuff. And so when I did talk to him about this Richard Lockwood, when I did talk to him, he was like, he didn't even know where this took place. He says, "Oh, that's got to be Texas," and it was Texas and part of Mexico and everything. He said they're all over the place down there.
Yeah, whenever Mr. Lockwood's on, we sure get a lot of comments about people saying they enjoy him being on and find him interesting. So,
well, he's connected with it. He's got a son. I mean, not a son, a grandfather who wrote a book in 1895 about Barron and his dog Bulger living in a Manhattan high-rise, 1895, and I think it had something to do with him becoming president. And did I mention the words 1895? And one of the big contributors to that was a guy named John Trump. This was Donald Trump's actual uncle. Now, either he was really old. He was Donald's father. He was his brother. That was Donald's uncle. Okay, I don't know how that thing comes about, but this guy's got lots of evidence and lots of stuff that you haven't heard. Things that have developed over the years have come from these aliens. A lot of so it has to be, in some cases, a fairly cooperative venture between the aliens and us. And he says there are evil aliens, though, and we're not talking about human aliens. We're talking about aliens from outer space. All right, this is it's all very interesting. Anyhow, what do we got for laughter? We were going to do. We were going to do. What's his name again?
We
Carlin.
did Reagan, and then we were going to do Carlin.
Carlin.
Yeah, so.
Okay, play Carlin and Seinfeld Toilet.
Okay.
Did you ever try to tell somebody they have a little bit of dirt on their face? You can never get them to rub the right spot, can you? Say, you got a little bit of dirt right here. They always go, where, here? And you just want to slap the bastard.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is kind of embarrassing, but there's no toilet paper over here. Are you talking to me? Yeah, I just forgot to check, so if you could spare some. No, I'm sorry. What? No, I'm sorry, I can't spare it. You can't spare it? No, there's not enough to spare. Well, I don't need much. Just 3 squares will do it. I'm sorry, I don't have 3 squares. Now, if you don't mind. 3 squares? You can't spare 3 squares? No, I don't have a square to spare. I can't spare a square. Well, is it 2 ply? Because if it's 2 ply, I'll take 1 ply. 1 ply. 1 puny little ply. I'll take 1 measly ply. Look, I don't have a square, and I don't have a ply. No, don't pull. I beg you.
There you go. Okay. That's you're going to hear that sometimes. After I fail with a joke, they're going to flush me out. Okay.
Damn it, I missed my opportunity already.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't even think about it.
You liar, you thought about it. You thought about it all the time.
No, I missed it.
That's the one thing this hotel had. It had the loudest toilet you'd ever want to hear. My goodness, it was loud. It's amazingly loud. Anyway, we're back on, and let's see if we can do something that we had in the monologue, but we didn't. Let's play 2 and 3, please.
And Biden should do something else. He should tell Iran, where I do have an open death threat, if you touch this guy who's a former president, and now he's the leading candidate to be president. We're going to blow your whole damn country up. And then it would stop immediately. They cannot threaten an ex-president who is a very strong, you saw the betting odds, they're through the roof, right? Is a strong possibility to become the president again. If they did that, he should say, we're going to blow your whole damn country up.
And we're just a few weeks away, 20 plus days away from the election. How do you feel about the race?
I feel great. We're leading in all swing states. We're leading mostly in nationals, I think. I'm a believer in polls. Some of them are fake.
What do you want to say to those voters out there who might be undecided, who don't know what they're going to do yet?
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of votes. We have something sort of special going on. We have tremendous support. They're so tired of seeing what's happened to this country. They're so tired of seeing the incompetence, seeing the border. And I think the border is maybe a bigger deal than even inflation. Inflation is a massive word. The bad economy is massive. The inflation made the economy bad. Those are the two big issues.
It's had such an impact, the open border.
And the other issue that's bad, really big, I think, is how badly they've done with North Carolina, parts of Georgia. When you look at what's happened, and Florida, we'll see what's happening there. I think we got a little bit lucky in the sense that it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as they thought. And a lot of governors have done a good job, but the response from the White House has been absolutely terrible.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, man from the Twilight Zone. His grandpa wrote about vulgar and barren Trump in a book in 1895, assisted by John Trump, Donald's uncle, and Freddie's brother. He is the author of the Ballad of Donald Trump. And please welcome, all the way from I Can't Mention, Richard Lockwood. Did I get it right?
You did.
Yeah, all right. I was calling you something else last time, but it
Good
doesn't
morning,
matter.
Dave.
Good morning. How are you, Richard?
Okay. Good morning to Lisa and JP as well.
I never got the stuff you were supposed to send me. You're late with your homework.
I guess I am.
Can you come back from Can you come back from yesterday now and turn it around and get it to me?
I can't personally, no.
Okay,
hey,
so
Dave, I hear that there was a little UFO activity in Texas earlier this week.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just telling the story where my wife has a friend, an old friend that I've never met. So I was doing show prep, and she said, "Can you come down and meet these people?" I said, "Oh, okay." So they're in the bar, and I come down, and the wife was very annoying. By the way, she says, "You better be nice to Lisa, or I'll kill you." Okay, several times, and I said, "Hold on, darling," And the husband, he was a nice guy. He had a long white beard. He was a hoot. So he's showing me all these pictures of all these things flying around, and like crazy. And I guess it was in front of a star at night. And I said, "What the hell's that?" He says, "Oh, those are space aliens." And that was. And then I had mentioned something to you about it, and you said Texas, and you had it there. You said there's a lot of space alien traffic.
That's not surprising at all, because according to the National UFO Reporting Center, the state of Texas has the fourth highest number of UFO sightings in the country, after California, Florida.
So this is all current. It's happening everywhere.
Oh yeah.
How long has this been going on?
Well, you know what? Since the beginning of time, Dave.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because you have all these things they can't explain, all these things that all these buildings that were made right into today's almost toughest engineers have to do this kind of stuff and put places in the right thing. It's all so exact.
Right.
Towns that were built. looking like airway things in South America and things like. I mean, it's just incredible, some of this stuff, and they can't explain it.
This morning, I'd like to shed some light on that, on the current UFO phenomenon.
Yes.
My father's cousin was a Lieutenant Philip Corso, and you know, when I was young, cousin Phil would come over to visit my dad at least once a year, and every time he came over, he'd sit in the living room and tell us about his experiences with UFOs and aliens. And of course, I was amazed by what he told us as a little kid. I just sat there, you know, with my mouth open. And this is how it went. In the summer of 1947, Lieutenant Philip Corso was an Army intelligence officer stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas. And while he was there, he was put in charge of the crash debris from Roswell, New Mexico. The flying saucer incident?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with it?
No, not exactly. I'm familiar with the area you're talking about.
Okay,
but, what was that?
On July 5th of 1947, a flying saucer crashed on a farm, actually a ranch in Roswell, New Mexico. And the feds were all over the place. They took all the stuff, and it ended up in the hands of Philip Corso, you know, and the Pentagon
your uncle. Wow.
My cousin, my dad's cousin.
All right.
So he was asked to distribute the various gadgets and equipment that were retrieved at the crash site. And so he took them to defense contractors and institutions and corporations and places like IBM, General Electric, DuPont, Reynolds Aluminum. All those places got pieces of this crash saucer. Now, Phil didn't tell the companies that these items were from the crash. Instead, he told them that they were advanced foreign technologies that had fallen into our hands.
Oh.
So he asked the companies to find out what each item could be used for and then recreate it for us so that we could use it in our military. You probably have heard of reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they did. And Phil warned them that the project was secret and any security breach could lead to the closure of their company and even harm to themselves. So these companies did a lot of amazing. They researched the debris and they came up with technologies that were just novel. Things like fiber optics, lasers, integrated circuits, night vision, silicon computer chips, and a substance known as Kevlar. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. What is that again, though? I mean,
it's a very strong, like heat-resistant synthetic fiber.
All right, now I have a genius here, another genius, who just walked in an hour earlier than he was scheduled, but that's fine. Because he thinks he owns the show and he owns me. He's a typical state rep, and there you go. And his name is Don Mayhew. I'm talking to Richard Lockwood here, who knows a lot about stuff that, as you said, is engineered and made originally by not illegal aliens, but space aliens.
Space aliens.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know anything about that?
Aren't technically space aliens illegal aliens also?
No.
Yes, they are.
They are? They are illegal.
Well, they're not supposed to be here, are they?
I don't know.
Well, I've heard Velcro was reverse engineered from alien technology.
That's what he just said.
I'm a firm believer in that. Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So that's also alien mind influencing or something like that.
It probably could be that too.
Well,
so
let me continue. Let me continue, and you'll understand. Anyway, that was the technology that led that gave JFK the impetus to go to the moon, because now we could harness computers in a way that we never could before with a silicone chip. Anyway, Phil told us that he never saw a live creature from the crash, but he saw two of them that were frozen to prevent their bodies from decaying. And they all had human features, Dave.
Really?
They had hands, feet, eyes, heads, resembling our own. And no one knew where the creatures came from, so they just called them aliens. But I'll tell you something. The Tesla time travel experiments changed all of that in the 1970s. And I'll get to that a little later.
Okay, now Tesla, go back and tell us who it was briefly, and how he discovered the bending time.
Well, Tesla, I'll go over this again, but Tesla was a contemporary of Einstein. And Einstein's theory of relativity said basically, if you can send light, if you can go faster than the speed of light, you actually can move into the future. And so Tesla ran with this because he was into amplified light. And so Tesla's idea was to encode a message onto amplified light, thereby sending it into the future.
Yeah.
And the person in charge of that was Donald Trump's uncle, Dr. John Trump.
Dr. John Trump. So this is in the 70s you're talking about, right?
Oh, okay. No. This took place during World War II for Trump.
Okay. All right. Now, so Trump. Now you were telling me, at least I thought I saw that that John Trump was involved in your grandfather's book.
He was
Bulger and Barron.
This is so difficult because when you're talking about time, it's like multi-dimensional chess, and it doesn't make sense at first glance. Okay, let me stop for a second and take a moment to talk about aliens.
Okay.
Most scientists agree that if life were to develop somewhere else in the universe, the chances of it looking like anything like us would be very, very, very remote. So the fact that Lieutenant Corso and other people on Earth have described aliens as somewhat human in appearance should be a huge clue as to who they actually are.
Well, they always show them with, long fingers and heads that are really screwy. But I guess you could say that's sort of like human-like. But
it is human-like.
Okay, so is that what they look like, or did they look like, like him, for example? I mean, I can see how screwy that.
Hey, wait a minute.
They were human, but engineered for space and time flight.
Yeah.
Now, the Roswell incident isn't the only time that people have reported alien visitations. As a man, now you're a man of faith.
Yeah.
When you have some time, read the Bible passage where the prophet Ezekiel sees the wheel hovering overhead.
Okay.
And it's a classic description of a UFO.
All right. Well, I saw a UFO back in 1981 in bright daylight, and I was going into my house, and nobody was around me. It was very hot out. It was like in July or something like that, and I felt a presence, and it was like I turned around and there's this huge silver tube way out there. It wasn't way out there. It was like a half a block away from me. And I'm looking for other people. I was saying, somebody else is looking at this. aren't they? But it wasn't going anywhere, and it was about maybe 150 feet above the ground. And I'm looking desperately to see if there's any other witnesses. There were none. And I looked at it for a while, and then all of a sudden, in like a tiny half a second or a quarter of a second, it disappears. Just goes off. No noise at all.
Well, what you're seeing is shifting between dimensions. That's why it seems to disappear.
Really?
Now, let me get back to my father's cousin.
Was it time traveling?
Yes.
Wow. So I was
exactly what it was doing. Now, let me get back to my father's cousin here, Phil Corso. He was in his 80s when he got really ill. He got cancer. And he decided to tell the whole story of his involvement in Roswell and all the artifacts from there. And he partnered with a man named William J. Burns. Together they wrote his memoirs in a book form. So Phil dictated the events to Burns, and the result was a book called The Day After Roswell.
The Day After Roswell.
The Day After Roswell. Please check it out. It was published in 1997. That was a year before Corso's death. And I received a signed copy in February of that same year. And it read, "To Richard, in memory of your father, my cousin Charles." And he signed it, Lieutenant Philip J. Corso. I got it in my book collection. And at first people didn't believe the stuff in the book. But now a lot of the details are being backed up by documents that were released through the Freedom of Information Act. So today you can buy a copy of The Day After Roswell at Amazon or Barnes & Noble, any place like that. And it lays the whole story out for you.
I'm surprised the government didn't get a hold of it and try to stop it.
Well, that's kind of amazing, but I think we're getting to the point where they want to leak this out and come clean.
Well, I think the myth of illegal aliens now is shifted to believable.
Yeah, it has.
Not illegal, but space aliens.
Space aliens, I know.
Yeah. I think now people are beginning to wonder: are they really around us, and what are they like? And you say there are good and bad ones. Do we know anything about where they actually came from, where they were born? Do we know any of that?
As the human race progresses, it becomes a spacefaring race. It gets off of Earth. It doesn't make any sense to stay on Earth because, something happens to our planet and our whole race disappears. It's gone forever. So eventually, what they do is they colonize first our own solar system, and then our own galaxy, and then beyond. When they got beyond, they found some pushback from other people, other beings, and they weren't anything like us. They weren't humanoid at all. As a matter of fact, they found that some of them were pretty hostile and wanted to take over the universe for themselves. So, in order to protect Earth, what happened was our descendants, I guess we can talk about them in that respect, came back to envelop all of Earth's history and protect it from attacks. So that's why you see UFOs, that they're on a mission to protect. That's why
they're protecting us.
They're protecting.
So these aliens from space, are actually protecting the United States of America from what? Nasty politicians or what?
No, it has nothing to do with people here. It has to do with.
He's not laughing.
With life forms.
I'm convinced Kamala's an alien, but that's.
He thinks.
I think so.
Kamala's she's a. Is she a legal alien or illegal? She's a space alien.
She's a Marxist. She's a traitor.
Oh, that's a political alien. So
yeah. All right. So go ahead. You were talking. Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay.
I have to interrupt once in a while. I mean, as long as you're not like Kamala and going and answering me on some other question, saying, "Oh, that Donald Trump is so evil." Don't you get that?
I'm going to follow the law.
I'm going to follow the law.
She speaks ambiguously. You can you can't pin her down on facts.
We found that out. Brett Bear found it out. Tell you what.
Hey, my hat's off to Brett Bear, huh?
Yeah, well, my hat's off, and so is my hair.
Yeah, but
there you go.
I'll tell you what.
What is that? Is that you?
That's not me. It better not be me. I think it's this thing here. It's not me.
My phone? No, I don't.
Oh, wait. I know it.
It is you.
Sorry.
No,
it is.
Sorry. Sorry.
It is me. Sorry.
He keeps on piping in. I think we're being invaded by space aliens. Really?
That wasn't me.
Who was that? Was that you? Wow,
what is that, Dave?
Martian. I think we got two aliens right here on the show.
Dave, what is that?
I don't know. That's you. That's you. Do you know the words like schmuck? Did they teach you that in Catholic school or what? Schmuck? Putz? Maybe
Schmuck.
putz. It's not smuck. It's schmuck. Okay.
Oh, well.
We're degenerating right here. I don't know.
We are.
Do we have a space? Can a space alien be invited to a show and actually go there?
I don't know.
You don't know?
As far as I know that they have actually not aliens, but future humans have made contact with our government in particular.
Why do they want to talk to our government? My God.
Yeah.
Nothing personal.
No, that's our defense against them right there. We'll talk to them for several generations.
Yeah,
never
get anything done.
They'll get frustrated and leave.
That's the same thing for the rest of us. They're not going to treat them any different.
Exactly.
Unless there's a lot of money involved. Not in your case, so obviously.
Well, it's the money that comes back. That's what we're worried.
Okay. All right. Where does Elon Musk come into this? Because he's a space traveler. He said it yesterday. He says if we don't get Trump elected, we're never going to Mars.
Well, I believe that we will. If right now we have an administration that has been making moves against our country, against our becoming.
Yes. Yeah,
against our becoming dominant in the world. They want to bring us down to the level of everybody else. This is kind of like Marxist thought.
Yes.
And so I could see what Musk is talking about. But we will go. We will go to the moon. We will go to Mars. But is there any connection
to the fact that he owns a company named Tesla, who's the guy that came up with this concept in the first place and proved it, and then he had allegedly invented electricity that is immediate and costless. And somebody took it away from him. The electric companies or companies that formed took it away from him because they wanted to make money on it. That's why we have electric bills instead of it being free.
Is that
true.
Right? It is true.
Okay.
He said that he could light up the whole East Coast.
Yeah.
Using the Earth's gravitation.
Ah.
And he could harness that and light up the whole East Coast, and that was buried. That it,
somebody ought to come back with that sucker.
Well, you see, if that came out, you can't charge people for it.
Well, I'm sure
it's all about money.
There would be some charges for it. I'm sure there are products that could get involved in it. I'm pretty sure that's a good idea, that you could find things for it to do other than just light the room.
Unfortunately, a technology like that, once it's out, can be used for great evil as well.
Oh, like what?
Weaponry.
Huh?
Weaponry, yeah.
Yeah, he said death rays.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that
we don't already have that.
Tesla was working on something called the death ray as well.
Okay, and they've got these now. They're instead of having missiles sent out to knock these planes down and bombs from Iran and from other countries, Israel now has these you can call them death rays. These things that explode out in seconds. They take down the bomb and the other thing, and it's free.
Yep.
Hang on a second. Free?
It's free.
What's free about it?
They don't have to buy it from America. They don't have to buy anything from
Get
America.
It from China or something?
I don't.
Chinese.
They invented it.
It's what's that little?
They invented it.
Nemo app, or what do they call that thing?
Try to read my lips. Okay. Jews invented it. Jews. Try to get that formed in your mouth.
You're not dragging me there.
It's not Mew. It's not.
You're not getting me there, Dave. I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Sorry.
What do you got against the poles? There you go. Keep going.
I wish you had the clip. Jews in space.
Jews in states.
Temu was what I was trying to.
Temu.
Yeah, everything's free on Temu. You just got to pay for the shipping now. That's
you pay for that. Well, you pay for the shipping. You pay to have it'll do certain things for you. Probably eliminate TVs. You'd pay a price for that, but then again, I'm sure it would cause some consternation, as computers did. A lot of people went out of business in the car business. How about the buggy people? How about the horse and buggy people? Did they not get demolished in this?
A government that can give you everything you want can take everything you have. So
yes,
needed. You're right on target.
Yeah. So I would say that probably there's a lot of opportunity in that. I always thought there was opportunity, and when you have these big hurricanes and all the water, that somehow it gets shipped to areas of this country that are dry. Get rid of all the deserts, and you have more and more crops. That's probably going to cut down the price of food, but what the hell? I don't know. Why couldn't we do that?
Well, like I said, any technology can be used for either good or evil.
Right. I'm saying to use it for good, but then again, it can be weaponized, and both sides would have access to it.
What do you think, Dave? Do you think the hurricanes were targeted?
I don't know. I mean, you tell me, because they can do this. They can seed the clouds, okay, and they can pretty well locate it. Now, whether this actually happened in Carolina and in Texas, I don't know. I don't know how much they probably can do it, but can they do it to the preciseness of what they did to North Carolina versus what happened in Texas? Which, maybe that was another way to kill off another red state. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the results of this is that they are suppressing the Republican vote.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this was intentional, they did a good job.
Yeah. And you got a lot of people in that are saying that in North Carolina, there were a lot of armed military and or police going around and kicking people off their own property. And like they didn't. What about Hawaii, where they took they took all the land, okay, from these people? And what is going to happen to this land? What is happening to this land? Who's it going to? You know, I feel like playing the song to, the Twilight Zone. Do 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 do. Tweet tweet tweet. I don't know. Whenever I see you, it's like the Twilight Zone is here. Okay, so there you go. He plays it. This is funny as hell. All right. Yeah, well, in very few seconds here, I think we've got who do we got? No, we would have had him. So at 10:30, I don't care how long you guys want to stay, as long as you quit playing space music while I'm talking. At 6, I got to be able to think. I have to focus. I'm an old man. Anyways, so okay. So Secret Service, they have time travel. What have they used it for? They used it. Wait, at one point, you said the intel tried to save Abraham Lincoln from getting killed.
Lincoln. And they couldn't do it.
And they couldn't. Why couldn't they do it?
Well, at that point, they figured that they could just interject somebody into that time frame.
Yeah.
And it would change the course of history. It would just change the course of events. They tried that multiple times. It didn't work.
Didn't think you had to be specific about it? Like, hey, you see that guy with a gun? Hit him over the head with a rock.
Yeah.
That's
what had to be done. What had to be done.
Okay, but still today, are we having these space travelers, like you mentioned that thing I was looking at, this huge metal cigar type structure, and you're telling me that took off so quickly that it had to be a time travel.
Oh thing. Yeah, if you see something that totally disappears within a matter of seconds.
Yeah, it was maybe a second long. I mean,
yeah,
I stood there like I was looking like, did I just see what I was seeing? And if it was at night now, that might be a little different. But this was daylight. It was hot as hell, and it was bright daylight.
I got to tell you, I live very close to a national laboratory, and my daughter actually took photos of a saucer craft, the classic saucer craft.
Yeah.
Listen to what happened.
Okay.
She went to a band camp. It was on her phone.
Yeah.
And she was down in Florida at a band camp. And she put the phone on the table as everybody was eating. And she looked down the next second and it was gone. The phone was gone. And she was surrounded by her friends. And she said, Dad, nobody there would have taken it. So these photos, and I saw them and I actually showed them to other people, were classic UFO photos that appeared right behind our house.
Uh-huh.
We live on a hill, and across the valley, we could actually see the tops of the buildings of a national laboratory.
Wow.
So
this happened to me. I'm thinking now. This happened to me yesterday. Okay, now there are odd ways. I haven't been on a plane in a while, maybe a year and a half or so. So when we're coming back home, I got from the, that's all like computerized. So you get your papers that let you on the plane. What do they call those? Ticket, I guess. Seating, something. Boarding pass. That's it. Boarding pass, right? So I put it in my left pocket, knowing it was important. And when I got to the area where you have to check in and all that stuff, and they go over your luggage, I didn't have any. It wasn't in my pocket anymore. So did some alien come and steal it from me and get on that plane? I wonder.
I don't know.
That's what that sounds like.
Well,
that's all in one day. I've had this happen to me within one day.
It's very strange stuff, Dave.
Yeah. Okay.
I imagine we're going to see a lot of strange stuff between now and November 5th.
Yeah.
That's not me.
We're going to see what?
A lot of strange things happening between now and November 5th.
Oh, yeah, you betcha. There's going to be a lot of bad, nasty stuff said about everybody.
As a matter of fact, I've got friends that are telling me that they expect some civil disobedience after the election, no matter who wins.
Could be. What do you think about that, Don?
About the election?
No, about the if no matter who wins, is there going to be riots?
Well, of course, let's make sure we understand what a riot is. A Republican riot is an insurrection, and a Democrat riot is a protest for justice. Peaceful protest for justice. Thank you very much, JP, for helping me out with that one. Now, a peaceful protest for justice. So yes, will there be peaceful protests for justice? Perhaps. If it goes the other way, there might be a little bit different reaction. So.
Well, sure, I get that, but what do you think? You agree with that?
Well, I'll tell you. Let's define insurrection for a second.
Yeah,
an insurrection is a power grab.
Right.
And you don't do that with signs and T-shirts and MAGA hats.
Yeah.
You do that armed to the teeth.
Yeah.
And what we saw January 6th was not an insurrection.
Well, it was an insurrection by the Democrats, in my opinion, and they did it as a stealing of power right there, and they're still using it. And, it wasn't an insurrection. And they claimed an insurrection was done. One person died. Only one person died that day. Ashley Babbitt. That was it.
Yeah. And nothing got set on fire.
And nothing got set on fire.
Even the British.
No police were killed.
Yeah. Even the British, when they showed up in 1812, they burned everything to the ground, right?
Yeah. Sure. And our insurrection against the British was fought over.
That was a rebellion.
Rebellion. That was not a revolution.
That's not an insurrection.
How about a revolution? What do you think a revolution is?
A revolution. Yes. It originally started out as a rebellion. We were rebelling against.
We were rebelling against the.
We didn't
taxes,
want to get rid
basically.
of the king. We were okay with the king. It wasn't until the king acted like a tyrant that then it became a revolution.
Yeah, but they taxed. It was about tax.
I just want to know what happened to the American spirit.
What happened is we haven't been defined yet. Understanding of how serious this is. What's on your head?
We become
I can't
complacent.
See it.
We're complacent.
It's too small in the screen. You're trying to show me something on your hat, aren't you?
Oh no, I'm not.
Okay. I am not who I think I am. That's what it says. I'm not who you think I am. That's on his hat. This is what space travelers do. Right here. Have you ever been tempted to, or have you ever time traveled?
No. I'd love to, but I haven't.
Really? So with all the connections you got, one would think that you could do this.
That is confined to research laboratories and
all of which you're familiar with.
I am.
Yeah,
but I haven't.
And all of which you could go in there any day and say, "Look, I'm volunteering myself to go on a mission, to time travel, and do something. I don't know, maybe prevent World War II. You could do anything, right? If you could do anything.
You know who was actually used in that respect? General Patton.
Okay, there you go. Now, why do you say General Patton, and how do you connect that to the dog Bulger that was written by your grandfather back in 1895?
All right, the dog's name was Bulger.
Bulger, okay.
And that refers to the Battle of the Bulge.
The Battle of the Bulge, okay. We all know that took place in World War, was it 1944 or so?
Yeah, but the book was written in 1895.
I know.
So General Patton believed that he was sent into different time zones to actually experience war tactics.
Yeah.
And that was to prepare him for his role in World War II.
Who sent him?
The people from the future actually intervened into his life.
What people?
U.S. government people.
Who themselves were time travelers?
Who had the technology. They've been working on it ever since.
Well, I'm sure, and they're still working on it very hard.
Yeah.
Right?
They are.
All right.
But the General Patton,
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to call a little break here. I've got Richard Lockwood and I've got Don Mayhew, and we're going to I got to have a break somewhere because I got sponsors. So please buy where my sponsors are. We'll be back. Don't touch the dial. Hit it.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrell's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. Acar Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we are committed to providing exceptional service to our customers. We do more than just provide loans for our community. We help make dreams become reality. Whether it's a new home, farm, business, or a new car, we would love the opportunity to help. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly lending team remind you how special hometown banking can be. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Back with Richard Lockwood and Don Mayhew, and do we have somebody on the phone? Yes, we do. Hi there, Karen. What's going on?
Hey, Dave. I won't keep you just a second.
Sure.
I've been a realtor for 35 plus years.
Yeah.
In Missouri here, and my question is, if I had a question to President Trump and the RNC, I would like to know. We have approximately 21 million illegals in our country, let in Kamala and Joe. So with the housing market, so those 21 million people have left their homes that they have to come here to be supported on taxpayer tip, if I might say that. Every person that is in our country is paying for their survival. For whatever. So those people have left their homes. So what's happening to the homes that they left? And then why are these Democrats and liberals so excited about having, I saw the percentage this morning, about 67%, I think, agree that they need to be deported. So where's the rest of that percentage of letting them stay here being on the government tit, if I might say?
I don't know. Maybe they're illegal aliens. I mean, they're space aliens. I don't know.
I know, but they've left their own homes. Send them home. They got their own homes.
Well, a lot of their homes were in jail. A lot of these bad ones.
You know, a lot. You know, you see them going through
and
the
then
fence
you got
stuff
50,000 Chinese men in this country, allegedly, according to now my friend here over here is Richard Lockwood, and he's shaking his head no, that maybe that's not happening.
No,
that's not happening.
I'm shaking my head because it's so egregious.
Huh?
It shouldn't be happening.
Richard.
Okay.
Say it again.
It shouldn't be happening. It's only a traitorous government that would allow that to happen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're in agreement. Okay, what else?
Well, that's my point is, you know, they've left their homes to come to live in our country illegally.
Right.
And then they brought nothing with them. And then we have this little app for their phones. By the way, we're paying for the government phones that Biden and Harris is supplying. I don't know if people are aware of that because the mainstream media does not report that, period.
Right.
So, you know, they can get in with their little app and we're paying for it. Plus, Biden is flying them over. That doesn't count in the collection of
They're going to try to get them to vote too.
Yeah,
and that's already been a problem.
They are. And Youngkin right now is fighting
Right.
his own state, not his own state, but you know, Biden's whatever, to stop that. So people need to be aware.
All right, I've got Jeff Zink is going to join us in about 9 minutes, and we can talk a little bit more about the border situation with him. Obviously, he's an expert on that and the voting issues, forensic election audits by Jeff Zink. All right, so he's got that. All right, so let me talk to you later. I think she hung up on me. I think she's pissed off. I don't know. Oh well. I'm good at pissing people.
Dave.
Yes.
President Trump has a plan. He's going to first take out those people that came from jails and mental institutions, and he's going to also take out the gang members. That's the first part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I believe he's going to concentrate on other portions of that population. He's got a huge job ahead of him.
It's going to be just totally huge. And there was one thing in the strikes. He's going to have to handle the strikes that are going to reenact themselves on January 15th. But I feel confident that he can come up with a pretty good solution for all. It seems like the guys in the unions are almost unanimous in loving Donald J. Trump. The unions. Okay? They're not, I don't know if any of them are actually backing Kamala. Do you? Hold on.
Anybody backing Kamala?
Yeah.
I don't know. The cemetery's full of people that are going to be voting for Kamala.
I'm from Chicago. We understand that. Go ahead. Who's that? All right. Well, don't hang up. Just okay.
I'm going to take this one step further. I think this is the final chapter in the Democratic Party. I believe they're a paper tiger, and their coalition is falling apart.
It seems like that.
I don't. This is the death throes of a wounded animal.
Yeah. It's sort of like what we have in the Middle East right now.
Yep.
They're still throwing these ineffective rockets at Israel as if they're working, and they're not. And their top guys are getting killed one after another in a very, very quick way. It seems to me like they're really desperate. And who's leading them? What schmuck, other than the ones that's going to do it in secret, somebody must be doing it. but none of them want to be identified because they know that they'll have a 24-hour possibility of getting killed or less.
Congratulations. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Congratulations to Bibi for taking out the Hamas leader.
Yes, and ignoring United States anti-Semitism based on what they were told to do by Biden.
But the problem is, of course, is that, if you wipe out all them guys, then who is the military-industrial complex going to sell guns and bullets to? That's where the problem is.
That's not my worry. That's your worry. Okay,
should be all of our worry.
Well, of course, but of course, but I don't. You know what? I'm beyond saying we got to do things because of the military-industrial complex.
But I mean
that's what you need to work out.
Our Ukraine policy, our current administration's Ukraine policy, and their policy toward Israel is about making it where both sides can keep killing each other, right?
Exactly.
Instead of eliminating the threat, the thing that's preventing peace. Then we just want to keep selling more bullets and more guns.
Well, a lot of them are being used in Israel right now against Israel.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're forced into the situation, right? Because
and they're making money.
This current administration and the Obama administration is supplying money to the Iranians who end up buying these guns and bullets for the
don't forget,
Hezbollah.
so did Joe Biden by cutting off the gas, because now they're selling gas to everyone.
Well, yeah, no, I mean removing
Billions.
the restrictions and allowing them to be able to sell internationally. But I mean, folks don't even talk about this anymore. But Barack Obama sent $1.5 billion and kicked it out of the rear end of an airplane in Tehran.
Right.
Now, cash money.
Right.
What? They wouldn't take a check, right? So there's only one explanation for that.
Not your check.
It becomes untraceable.
Yes.
A check becomes traceable, but $100 bills are not traceable.
Yeah.
And so that would have been proof positive that money was being transferred to Hamas and
they
Hezbollah.
did it in secret.
Yeah.
But how did it get out then? How if it was in secret, who shined a light on it?
Because don't you remember the excuse for that was that, well, the Iranians bought a half a dozen F-14s from us that we never delivered, so we owed them that plus interest. Okay. Now, at the time, an F-14 cost about $4.5 million, but we added interest from 1979 because that's only fair.
Yeah.
So does that make any sense to anybody to pay them money plus interest to a government that doesn't even exist anymore?
Yeah,
it's a totally different government.
In secret, yeah.
And then to try to do that under the guise of, well, we're just being fair, right? Well, hey, they should have been fair to the Japanese then in World War II, right?
Well, that's what we're talking about here. This is why this is anti-Semitism. Jews are expected to be compliant. When people are trying to kill Jews, we're just supposed to go along with the program. They had a play out here, a play that I went to shortly after 10/7, and they had a conversation about it because it was about the Jews in World War II in Poland or somewhere like that, and maybe Czechoslovakia. I'm not sure, but they kept sending the Jews, these kids, to the camps in Germany, and this was about how these kids got so along with each other, and it was such a nice thing. And I'm sitting there thinking, these son of a bitches kids need to learn how to fight back and save their asses. This is what I'm thinking. All right. And wait a minute, I'm not done. They had a bunch of people on that stage, one of whom works for the university here as a professor. She's a professor on anti-Semitism, right? And so I raised my hand and I said, well, what about the state of Israel was given to Israel, the Jews, by God himself. It's in the Bible. She says, well, no, Israel was really formed in 1948. This is the ex-professor at S&T College, S&T University. And I says, You mean the Jews did not exist in that? He said, well, there's two different opinions on this. I says, are you kidding me? And look, I said, well, I'm not trying to knock the actors or anybody else, but anybody that believes this was a good thing is an anti-Semite. Period. There's no getting around it.
So I'm reminded of an interview I saw with a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
Who he was talking about what had happened, what had transpired from about 1938 on in Germany, and he said, he saw his friends and his neighbors being taken out of their homes and whatever. And he says, well, the government's never going to do that. I fought in World War I. I was a winner of the Iron Cross. They would never do that to a veteran, especially one who had received the Iron Cross. Yeah. And he said he woke up one morning and they were hauling him to the concentration camp.
There you go.
And fortunately, that's where we've got a whole bunch of people in this country that perhaps some of them are Jews and that aren't recognizing the fact that they're next on the list. And
now that brings us to the Christians. Now hold on a minute, because I've got a real star coming on, and there he is. This man is let's see now, I mixed up. He is a kinesiologist. I always say that because I like saying it. He's a preacher. He's a forensic expert on election audits. He's a candidate for U.S. Congress in Maricopa County, Arizona. Please welcome, all the way from Phoenix, I believe, Jeff Zink. Yeah. Well, as you can see, we've got a crowded room. I have one guy, Lockwood over here, who knows everything about time travel. You want to know. And it involves the Trumps. It involves General Patton. And I've got another guy here. Well, he's a politician who likes chickens. All right, that's Don Mayhew. So,
hey, Don, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How about you, Jeff?
I'm doing good.
Good. Well, let me start off with Jeff, and then I'll try to manage this thing so we all get to talk about stuff. Jeff and his son Ryan were subject to several stolen elections in 2020 and 2022, and they were also witness to the 1/6/21 so-called insurrection. What would you call this so-called insurrection, Jeff?
I call it the Fedsurrection, because it was the federal government that actually did this. And the thing is that we've got some ongoing things. So I'm gonna take about 5 minutes to bring you up to speed as to what's happened here. So my son was convicted, and his 1512C2 was overturned. They only had two misdemeanors: the 1752 1A and 1B. And the thing is that in his sentencing, we have had a pattern established. He was lied about to get a no-knock warrant served on February the 4th. He was lied in his trial. They lied about his sentencing. And now, because of what's taking place, all of this is on appeal. And yet my son is on a plane right now heading to Phoenix, Arizona, because I have to turn my son in to a federal prison on Sunday in Arizona. Now, of all the places that a Texas resident is being pulled into his father's state, that is one of the most corrupt states that there are. It's controlled by the Mexican cartel. And guess who's getting having to turn his son over to the Mexican cartel prison system here in Arizona, and he's got to serve 36 days. What was so interesting is that the prosecution and lying about my son being so inconsiderate that for 1 week they had no idea where he was. They had no idea. He didn't call in. They had no did not know where his whereabouts were and everything else. And finally, after she finished, the attorney then stated, well, you knew exactly where he was. And she was like, well, how do you know that I would know? And he goes, well, because he was sitting 6 feet from you. The week that you are talking about is the week that he was in trial. And so they had.
So he's in obviously there for something that was lied about by the prosecution, and knowingly so. It's on the record, right? Why does he have to do everything?
Well, everything's on the record and we have it on appeal. But the thing is that if it's on appeal, why are they rushing to get him to serve? You would think that because the judge, the prosecutor was trying to get 2 years in prison. Now, this is for 2 misdemeanors for somebody who has never been in trouble with the law. 2 misdemeanors. They $100,000 each for each one of those. 2 years in federal prison, 5 years at a halfway house in Washington, D.C. This was what they were recommending for my son to serve. And then when she tried to introduce 2 doctored pictures, my son recognized it, had the judge pull up the original pictures, and clearly you could see that they had been doctored. And the judge blew a gasket and threw out all of their recommendations and gave my son 90 days, 57 days time served. He has to serve 60 or 36 days. But the thing is that they can't count. It's supposed to be 33. But the thing is, he is going to be in prison at the time I'm elected on November the 5th, and he will spend 21 days in a federal prison when his father is a congressional elect waiting to take his oath on January the 20th.
Well, you go right to Trump and you say, I want my kid pardoned.
Well, we don't want them pardoned. We want them to go through the process because we want to unravel everything that they've done and go after the corrupt judges.
Out on appeal?
Well, you would think that, but they aren't. They're rushing to. So my son's on a plane right now heading. I got to go pick him up here in a little bit and then take him. You know, we've got a big event tomorrow here in Phoenix. You know, we're hoping that Kerry Lake will show up, that several Kelly Cooper and several other congressional candidates and stuff are going to show up. We have about 3,000 people that are going to hopefully be here that are all Latino descent and stuff. And so these are the things that are going on. And I just wanted to, and sorry guys, I wanted to get this out because this is a development that's just happened in the past week.
Okay, I'm going to go to my other guest now, Lockwood. You have any comments on this?
No, I wish your son the best.
Yeah,
and
I appreciate that.
Now Don would have comments. I'm sure he has comments on everything.
I always do. Now, another classic overreach of the federal government, ignoring the Constitution in the whole process, just absolutely shredding it 100%. I still question, when are the rioters who actually burned a federal building in Seattle, when are those guys going to spend their 36 days in federal prison?
Or Minnesota.
Yeah.
Under what's his name?
Well, name the big city, right? They all experience the same thing. And they actually put federal employees under threat.
Yeah.
They couldn't leave the building.
Sure.
And these weren't, just office workers. These were guys who were packing guns, who couldn't leave the building and were instructed to stay there by their higher ups. I suppose they were not aware, was the Obama administration or the Biden administration? Biden administration. We'll just call it what it really is. Were they not aware? Did they not watch TV and see this federal building that was had the big bonfire built out in front of it to burn it down, and told their federal employees that, hey, just stay there, shelter in place.
Right.
Don't worry. We're not sending in the National Guard, though. We're not going to come and rescue you. So when are those people going to spend their 36 days in federal prison?
All right, Jeff, Kerry Lake, Ted Cruz, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, New York, Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, Vegas, Minnesota. Are all these things possible? to any of these or all of these things possible that Trump is going to take advantage of?
Oh, I think so. I think that, the thing that gets me, if anything, last night is an indication of the difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, is the fact that Donald Trump shows up to a Catholic event that was a charity event. She doesn't even have the decency to show up. Then she shows this very pathetic video on top of it that really mocks the Catholics. And the thing is that every time that they get in, like the debate that I had last night with my opponent, she is raking me over the coals because I want to protect children, that I want to protect children in the womb. I want to protect children from their ideology of transgender and boys being in girls' bathrooms and things like that, and how awful a person I was. And I was like, do you just not listen to what you're saying and what you're doing? I'm fighting for the freedoms of what's our Constitution is given. And I caught just at the very tail end of the anti-Semitic, comments and things like that. And Dave, that I just dislike Jews so much that my chief of staff now is Jewish. He's the direct descendant of Moses.
Okay.
So,
mine too. Well, a couple of things now. She does not go anywhere that doesn't have a teleprompter.
Exactly.
Exactly. And there was absolutely no laughter in that charity event, the Catholic charity event, after they showed that clip. None. There was no reaction at all. Okay? So even the Catholics and the Jews in liberal New York City seem to be breaking away.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is that what's really interesting, I always say that if you're watching a train wreck, don't get in front of it, and so the thing is that, like my debate last night, I really never interrupted her. I never said anything. I just allowed her to speak. And my opponent literally just torched herself. And what was funny is that she said that after she was asked the question, well, you've accepted dark money from all of these places with cryptocurrency and everything else and stuff. And she goes, well, yes, but when I go to Congress, I'm going to stop all that. I mean, it was just so everybody just kind of went, seriously, that's what you're coming with.
Reaction, Richard. A
little bit here. I don't believe that you can be a Catholic or a Jew or even a good Muslim and be a member of the Democratic Party, because the things that they embrace go cross-grain to all the major religions. And I think that Kamala Harris coming to that dinner last night would have been a sacrilege. I'm glad she didn't. Somebody who believes in abortion, in transgenderism, and all the evils that are incorporated into the Democratic Party have no place in a religious gathering of any
Now,
kind.
Richard, as a time traveler, has projected that there will be no more Democratic Party after how long? I don't know if you got a time limit on this, but
No, I don't. But I foresee the demise of the Democratic Party. I think that it's a coalition of all kinds of groups that are anti-American.
Yeah. All right.
And I think that the American people see it now.
Don Mayhew.
So the fundamental problem that we have here in America is that we've turned church and religion in general into a social club, where other countries it's a way of life, and where they firmly believe that there is a creator. Here, it's on Sunday we show up and drink the coffee and eat the cookies and talk about how good we are, but the rest of the week we totally ignore the teachings that was provided to us. So we've got to get back to that. We've got to get back to going to church, going to synagogue, and actually believe in what we preach.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on the national election for president? Are you predicting a Trump victory? Let's throw this back to Jeff.
Absolutely. The thing is that I've been walking and talking to people in my congressional district, which is, the thing is that it was a plus 55 Democratic stronghold in 2020. It was a plus 24 in 2022. It was a plus 20 when 2 weeks before the Democratic convention, and then when they were giving away abortions and everything else, it's now gone to plus 10, and it's still dropping, and I'm sure it's going to drop even more after last night's fiasco with Kamala Harris. And the thing is that everybody on the street that I'm talking to, only just one or two people every time I go out and talking with 100 people, one person will be, for Harris, but everybody else is, I'm done with the Democratic Party. So we're, if you go by that, I would say probably 92% of the people I come in contact with are voting Republican and Donald J. Trump.
Women? What about women? Jeff?
Yes, women as well. And black women is also voting for Trump. And black men. Well, wow. They didn't like the fact that Obama told them to stay on the plantation and everything. And
all to do that. This guy, right. He was born by a white mother. The father was pretty much out of it. In his early life, he had a book published. There was a book published about him that said that he was born in Kenya, that somehow got changed. He was brought up by his grandparents, white, rich grandparents. He went to various places in Asia and or the Middle East to be schooled. So this guy has hardly any black association. All right. Now he's telling black men, you ain't black if you ain't voting for Kamala. I mean, this is gall. And I think a lot of black guys, I think I know that they are saying, who is this guy to tell us how to vote? He ain't my daddy, So what do you think of that, Rich?
Well, I think that their use of the race card is weak now. The black population is seeing through it. I have black friends that are pro-Trump supporters, and are
they hiding it, or are they ashamed of it?
Well, that the ones that I know are open about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's not like Trump is going to win them all, but he's going to win a good portion of them, I think.
Enough that it will make a huge difference in the election.
Yeah.
And Hispanics as well.
Yeah, Hispanics. That's a good thing. Let me get back to Jeff. Hispanic vote, because that's what you're counting on, isn't it, Jeff?
Correct. 64% of the families that I represent are Latino. And so how they vote is how I'm going to vote. And the thing is that in Maricopa County in 2020, we had 270,000 evangelical Christians and Catholics sit on the sidelines and not vote. And had they voted, everything up and down the ticket would have been completely different. They need to understand that they are in control, and it's their voice that needs to be heard. It's God's voice. We need godly men and women need to literally fill the void that has been left.
Churchgoers, are you listening to this? You got to vote. You don't want this country to tell you that you can't practice your own religion, do you? And they're not just coming after Jews, they're coming after Christians. Okay, so don't feel safe that they're, the Jews, yeah, they get rid of the Jews. No. And yes, moderate Muslims going to have a problem too. You have to be a believer. You have to be a strong Muslim in order to survive this. And you have to be able to discard gay people and women. Okay, done.
Yeah, I couldn't put bigger emphasis on that. The problem right here in Missouri too, Jeff. We recently passed legalized marijuana here, and 12.5% of the eligible voters in the state of Missouri put that millstone around our neck, and a lot of that was due to rural Christian voters who just didn't show up, didn't bother showing up. And we can't let that happen anymore. It's got to be, it's all hands on deck now. If your friends and relatives are telling you they're not going to vote for one reason or another, maybe even because they believe the press that your vote just doesn't matter anymore. Well, let me just give you this one thing. The difference between Barack Obama and John McCain winning Missouri back during that election was 3.3 votes per precinct. So tell me, please, your vote doesn't matter.
Yeah. So guy, Christians, Jews, I've already voted. Other people on my show have already voted. That'd be JJ Bradshaw. And it's easy to do. You get in and out. There's usually not a line, at least maybe there'll be more, but I don't know. Go to the courthouse, Phelps County Courthouse, or wherever the voting takes place. They're very nice about it. You got to fill out a few forms and give them an excuse. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. So I got to vote. I got to vote by myself in silence. Nobody bothered me. And it was easy, and I was in and out within no time. So any comments on that, Jeff?
Well, that's the way that it's supposed to be. What we're doing is we're telling people to make sure that when you get your ballot, that you make sure that it's addressed to you and everything. Make sure that when you fill it out and you take it to the polling place, that you have them actually accept it, so that it's not just thrown in a drop box or anything else. I always tell everybody, if you don't want to, or would you be willing to take $100 bill, put it in an envelope and mail it? If you're not willing to do that, then why would you be willing to put your vote into the mailbox and have it mailed? So we need to do it in person, need to take it there. But here's the other thing that's very important. When people say that I can't believe that you would vote for Trump, you need to tell them that I'm not voting for an individual, all right? And it's not the person. I'm voting for the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, and not to be censored. That's one of the things that needs to be very clear. I'm voting for the Second Amendment so that my right to defend my family and my life can be done. I'm fighting for freedom of religion. All of these things are what's on the table. I'm voting for the unborn babies and the right to live. I'm voting for growth of economy, lower interest rates, lower taxes, lower gas prices, reducing inflation, and keeping jobs in America. We're voting for our troops from foreign countries and conflicts so that the military and veterans are taken care of. I'm voting for peace progress through the Middle East through the strength of our military. And we're also voting for the police and respect that they deserve, once again, to ensure law and order. We're also trying to stop the invasion of our borders and illegal immigration with child and human trafficking and sex trafficking. We're voting for the justice and judges who respect the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And then more importantly, I personally I'm voting for my children and my grandchildren to ensure that their freedoms and their future were the same as mine growing up. That I'm voting to return teaching math, history, and science instead of indoctrinating our children. So it's not just one person, but we're voting for the future of our country, and that's what's important.
All right, let's talk about cheating. Now I'm going to talk to Lockwood first. Richard, cheating.
Indeed.
What are your thoughts?
I think that our electoral system needs massive overhaul. Right now, it's so loose that we know there's going to be cheating. That's a given.
Yeah, but we know there's
you
going
know
to
what
be
Trump says.
The range that was huge, I believe, in 2020 and 2022, and I'm sure Jeff would, as an expert in forensic election audits, he would say absolutely. Say the word if I said the truth. Absolutely, Jeff.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's enough. So, all right, Richard, we're running out of time here, so I'm trying to get everybody in. Go ahead. You got anything to say about that else?
Trump said that we have to be too big to rig.
That's right. We got to be
out. Got to overwhelm them.
They got voting early.
And the only way we're going to do this.
We got to do it. So it's counted.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and then we got to avoid what happened. Done.
Yeah, so I remember what Bill Barr said 3 weeks after the election in 2020 that there was no evidence of widespread cheating, and even if there was, then it didn't make a difference in the election. He was able to do that with absolutely no data. Told me right away that there was cheating. Absolutely,
he was the Attorney General.
He was the Attorney General of the United States.
Where was his investigation on that? It was 1 month. It was less than 1 month after the election.
And so the point of that is if they're going to go to that trouble and then all of the other things they've done to Trump, that means that they're not confident with their cheating. Because even with the system that we've got and the way they've polluted the voting system in a lot of these states like California, where everybody gets a ballot, no matter how illegal you are.
Yes.
The reality is that even with all of that, they are still super concerned. Trump is right. We have to overwhelm them. And the only way we're going to do that, folks, is if you go out and vote. But you need to make sure your friends and your neighbors vote. Please just call 3 people and ask them to call 3 people. And in only 13 generations of something like that, you have reached every registered voter in the state of Missouri.
I've got a lot of Christian people listen to this show. Hardly any Jewish people do. It's very interesting because I'm obviously Jewish and I'm obviously love Israel, and I don't take any hits on being a bad person because I'm a Jew. I don't care. I hit back. But okay, go ahead. I'm getting into your minute or two you got. Jeff, closing argument.
Well, one of the things is that we need to sit down and we need to, like Don said, we need to get people out to vote. And you get 10 people, those 10 get 10, and those 10 get 10, and we can reach everybody and have them vote. It's very important. We actually have precedent in Texas that we won court cases there because they had to go over 100% turnout in order to put somebody in. And when we proved that in court of law, then that person was removed and the other person was placed into that position. So it does work, and we can do this. One of the things that you can go to find out about me is go to thinkzink.vote. And then also for Ryan, Ryan's going to be going to prison and stuff, and he has $300,000 that he still owes his attorneys. We still need help there. And if you'll go to givesendgo.com/Ryan Zink, that will help as well. The thing is that we sat down, and I'm just ahead of everybody. I'm not anybody special. My family is being persecuted, and we're just up front. Once they go through us, they're coming to you next, and people need to understand that.
Okay. Richard, quickly. Closing.
Well, everybody get out and vote early if you can. You know, in the Spanish community, I have a great deal to do with them. They have a saying, "Que mala eres," which in Spanish means, "What kind of evil was this?" Que mala eres. And so a lot of them are turning to the Republican Party. They realize that Democrats are going against their Catholic upbringing. And you're going to see a big swing in the Hispanic community as well.
All right, great. Well, we're down to 30 seconds. All right. Hey, listen, I want to thank each and every one of you for being on the show. Jeff and Richard and Don and my previous guests, and Karen for calling in. I guess I got to call her because she had something else to say. I didn't have enough time to squeeze her in. But be sure to catch us again next Friday at 8 a.m. sharp and get the latest on the election. Thanks. Great weekend.